Good morning. Welcome to OptionsTender. We're taking a look at SPX. Is up a little bit early this morning, trying to figure out what is going on. So I have a new roadmap around the way, and unfortunately, we missed a lot of this trade here, majority of this trade. Now we're looking for a bounce today. It is a tradable bounce, and then we'll be looking for a low going into next week, late next week or so. All right, so I'm gonna point this out to. We'll probably close this gap first, and then head to our low here. Not much lower than probably on SPX. I'll show you on SPY as well, and we'll go around the indices. I think I'm gonna just focus on SPY today and SPX. I'll go over to the weekly time frame so we can see what that looks like. But we're in the territory. We're in this bounce territory already. By the way, we're doing this intraday at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually do these videos around noonish. But if you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube member and supporting the channel. We talked to the Discord already, and we see this bounce coming here. So the market has laid out its cards, and unfortunately, I couldn't read it early enough, but we're going to catch some traction right in this low here. You see this nice potential trend line, and I say potential because there's only 2 touches here. I think we'll get a bounce in this area before heading higher. Now, it's no secret that this is a bounce area. I just didn't think we'd get there in this amount of time. We have a trading consolidation area here, a low, and a low from that yen carry trade here as well. And so we're in that zone right now, and I think we'll get our bounce. It could be some sort of flat pattern. We're looking for a wave 4 bounce, okay? Just to put it in a nutshell, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm looking for. So let's go really quick through some of these indicators, and we're not going to go through the other indices, just this right now. I just want to get this out to you. Clearly the moving averages, momentum's down. McClellan oscillator here was the tough one here. We had positive divergence that burned through. Now what I'm going to be looking for, and I'll just keep this on here. We don't have a positive divergence on here. But when we get a new low from this low, I'll be looking for a small divergence there. Maybe it won't show up, I'm not sure, but I'll be looking for one, okay? The options tender set up. Now this is probably just, and I haven't taken a look at this yet, just building. Here we go. So now we're looking for divergence, and we have a setup for it. And what will have to happen is with this bounce or so, we're going to have to curl back up. So we'll still get this positive divergence here, but it came down lower first. Okay. All right. Same thing here with the RSI. In the near term, especially on the 65, we'll probably get our bounce here today going into Monday, and then turn around Tuesday, we'll be able to short the market, okay, for one last move, and we should get a positive divergence here. All right, so I'm not looking to play this bounce to the upside just yet because I'm gathering everything, but I'm looking for one last move to the downside. And again, you'll see why. With the moving averages, it's we'll probably end up seeing the 8 EMA catch up, and we'll have maybe 2 green days, or possibly 3, just like our last bounce here. Close the gap and catch up with the 8 EMA and see a new low, and we'll get those positive divergences once again. And slow stoke will probably, we had a positive there. We'll check it out. It could just cycle down here lower and just cycle back up. And so that's why it's important to look at these each and every day. Now, again, these catalysts extended the move. And it's kind of funny because we, back when we made this video for this bounce, I talked about it, of course, making a higher low, we're bullish. And I said, unless we get a reversal, an extension, because we had our 5-wave move here. And it's the same thing when you're going up. The only problem is I didn't believe. Okay, so I didn't hang on to that risk. I should have emphasized more to myself and to you. We bounced and had a 1-2 setup instead of the wave 5. There's a 5-wave move down here being the end, making a positive divergence. We actually started another series for a larger 5-wave move, so that they call that an extension. All right, and I'll show you the wave count in just a minute. DMARC. Wasn't sure we'll get anything, but now it's looking like we'll get, because we're not going to pass 4 candles higher, looks like we'll end up with our 9-count exhaustion by the end of this, and possibly a 9-13. All right, so we'll check that out as that plays out. Awesome oscillator, building positive divergence, and I suspect we'll have a couple bars up and build another one. And so we'll extend that a little bit more. Okay, and let's go over to SPY. All right, here's our money flow. Again, I really like this money flow, but this, again, just has to be interpreted. We're getting positive divergence, but I think it's still going to play out just a little bit more there. So this still shapes the same way, but look how extended that is. That's tough. That is tough. Same thing here. Same thing here. And look at that move. It looks the same. Just gap down, and had to build itself back up after a positive divergence. So that's still the case. There's a much more bearish scenario, but I'm not going to go through that. It's just highly unlikely. I think I might have put it in on the bear market 2025 video. And again, that video still stands. I know that will be at lower prices, but that video still stands, and it'll give you a roadmap. Now it's going to be a little bit more bearish than what I had suspected, a larger first set of 5 waves. So that's the only thing that changes. And we'll update that when we start to get our wave 2 in. Okay, Bollinger Band, still riding lower. Wow, this is begging for a bounce, so we're going to get that bounce. And then this is a buy signal. It is a buy signal right now. We're outside of the Bollinger Band. But again, I think this is going to fail one more time. Okay, let's look at a couple different boards. Traditional look first. So our traditional technical analysis here. Again, we have our bounce zone where we have good support and resistance formed. That's where this is here. And we also have, from the low to this low, we have a nice potential trend line. And I think with that, that's an objective long there. And I think also with our cycles coming in, that this low will be good. So we'll look for that coming up. Now, I also believed that our move was over, not only because of the support here, but because our cycles were coming in, and I thought we'd snap first, have a V-shape reversal, and then drop tremendously at that point. the drop came first. Okay, so now we're gonna see some sort of bounce after we're in the zone. We are clearly in the zone for the bounce. Now what we're gonna do after that is we'll suspect some sort of flat pattern or a zigzag, and that zigzag wasn't playing out here, which could have been the first indication, but it didn't have to be. It could have been a flat pattern. But it's very typical. It's more typical for wave 2. We have wave 1, and for wave 2 to get a 5-3-5, a very sharp zigzag. And so that's what we'll potentially be looking for this next time around for the bounce. Okay, change over to time and price. I'll have to change this. This is no longer an A, B. That's way too far for a B. And we are downgrading our wave 1 to almost complete. And we'll be looking for, and then we'll have to move these retracements lower. I think we'll make a low around 511 or so. So let's 512, 513. That's close enough for now, and then we'll change that. So then we'll look for our retracements to be lower. All right. And so we have the 10th and the 14th. That's where I'll be looking for. This next cluster is where I'll be looking for a low into the 10th and the 14th. Okay, that makes clear sense to me right now. I think we'll get this bounce. As a matter of fact, I think it's likely that we'll close the gap. There is a resistance right underneath it. And again, I'll show you what that looks like. And then we can start our process of bottoming. Okay, you can already start to see on the daily that we have a nice shape here. 1, 2. Instead of this being the wave 5 and done for the low, we have an extension. So this is now a 1 instead of a 5. 2, 3 is completing here. And I'll show you why I had that target. We showed it again in the Discord. We showed where we should get it. This is a much more clear move. And this is what's going to be happening in the future. Getting further into this decline. This shenanigans is messy. But the market was telling us that momentum was starting to gain on the downside. But that's hindsight. But now that we have more information, we can start trading this, okay, more efficiently. And so again, I think we'll get a high here going into Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I think we'll get a reversal heading lower. And I'll look at some catalysts and bring those up in the further videos. Okay, so here's the roadmap. So I'll give you a little bit of update. We thought that we'd get a wave 1 here. Now the devastating move is this a 1-2, and then you just go screaming lower. All right, it appears that way, but it's not. So we actually have a wave 4 here, and now we're into this confluence of Fibonacci's, and I explained that in the other video. So make sure you check that out. I'll post it up above. And you can see why these clusters are so important. I explain them. Now it's going to look a little different, obviously, because we thought the bounce was here. Now, I still think this is one leg. And bulls are going to step up here at 311. So everything that I've been talking about in the past videos, it doesn't change. And the reason is because we have a 382 here. Okay? We have a 382. So the 23.6 was up here. And their bulls are saying, this is a wave 4. This is a wave 4. And now they're going to say, this is an ABC into a wave 4. Okay. And they're going to say, and this is because the 382 goes back to this market structure down here. And so bulls are going to say you have a 1, 2, and then all of this is a 3, and you're getting wave 4, and you go to new highs. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong, but we'll be looking for a lower high. They'll be looking for a higher high, and then that will prove if it's wrong or not. So we don't have a really negative structure here until we get a bounce, a real bounce, not this, and then make a new low. Then we can confirm structure to the downside. All right, and so that's, again, why we're going to have buyers step in, and it's going to be a rip your face off rally. All right, that just didn't happen where I thought it was going to happen. And so we'll have something like this coming in. It could be a flat pattern. That could be a 5, 3, 5. All right. Next, let's go to the 65 so we can get to showing you more of this near-term price action. All right, so we have our downtrend line here. Clearly, it rejected off of the downtrend. And once again, the volatility is so high right now. We made it from expected move to well past the other end. And that's just not a typical situation, but this is bear market action now. So that's what we're looking for. We closed this gap just now, so that's why we're getting a reaction off of it. This is support here, so it's acting as resistance at that point. So we're getting a bounce off of this next gap. I shouldn't say last. There's plenty of gaps underneath. And then I believe, again, we'll get this bounce to tradable bounce, close this gap up. We have an island gap right here. Look at that. So we'll close this gap up, and let me draw one in. And then we'll break down, and we don't have, again, we have resistance right here, but I suspect we'll close this island gap first. And then we're looking for this trend line right down here around 511. Probably get a wick through it, go to that gap and hold on to the gap. So if you're buying at 511, the volatility of this market's going to be so high, you'll probably see it come into maybe even 508 or so and wick back through it. So be careful. Just don't get short here. All right, so let's look at this beautiful. I mean, once you get a hold and locked in of what's going on, then things really, really look so much better to you. So let's change what's going on here. Okay, so here's our situation, and I'm going to show you. This is what I was looking for last night with our Discord members, and that's not right. It's not happening. So I can take these out. But now we have our we have the situation that we were talking about in there. Instead of it being a real shallow ending diagonal, it's an actual impulse wave down. Okay, so let's change this whole thing. Let's get back in business here. Let's put all these in turquoise. It's our primary scenario. So how we had to look at this, and I'm going to take the retracements out for now because we're not looking for that bounce yet. Okay, so how we were looking at this is that we had some sort of 1-2 in here. It just isn't the case. It's one of the really, really odd looking structure where we have a 1-2, wave 3 completed down here. Get rid of the purple. This was all wave 4. And the reason is that we have that 1-2 up there. We got to the 382. this is the only way that we can count this. Sorry, I had it all the way at the top. I have to use it at the top of wave 2. All right, now it's not going to be perfect. And then let me clear this up for you. And again, play this at 1.25 or 1.5 speed, unless you have time to chill out and watch this. Okay, so it made it to the 382. And I mean, that's just a weird play. Whatever, I was wrong. So that's how we're counting this in hindsight. And I'll get rid of that. So you have your 1, 2, 3, wave 4 into the 382. And now wave 5 could have been done here. Let me change that turquoise. Okay, so wave 5 could have been done here. That's what we were suspecting, but it decided to extend. And although I mentioned it, I did not hold that. I did not hold that situation in my videos. So our extension, and we're looking into around here for time-wise, our extension is now a 1 instead of a 5, 2, and you see this nice wave 3 impulse. Let's get rid of the B. We can use it later. Get rid of that A. So wave 3, we're looking for that to end right about here, a little bit lower, because we have a high right here. Here's how you measure a typical wave 3. You take it from the top of wave 1, grab your extension tool all the way back to the wave 2, and look at that. I'll put that target in turquoise so you can see it. 1.62 extension. That's where it tagged just now, so it could spike through there. But that's your typical wave 3 and done. All right, so in here you see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just a relentless wave 3. That's how wave 3s play out. That's what we were looking for to the upside. A C wave and 3, the third wave, are just usually the best trading, but we were on the wrong side of that. So now we're looking for a wave 4 bounce. Okay, so how do we measure this? Get rid of those. Okay, so how do we measure? We take the top of wave 3 or the end of wave 2, this point up here. We grab our retracement tool. We go down to the bottom of the move, assuming that it ends here. And then let me clean this up and give you our 23.6 and our 382. And I'll make them red as resistance. Okay, so again, we're looking for our bounce here. Now we're looking for a retracement minimum to the 23.6 for wave 4, and more likely the 382. And that will close the gap. All right, you see that gap right there? There's no coincidence. It's how the market works. So we'll close that gap, I believe, and it might be in some sort of ABC, or maybe you get a flat pattern. We'll see how this plays out, but usually it's within time. It takes time for this to play out for wave 4s. And so when we do get our structure here up here to wave 4, a move, then again we'll be looking for a wave 5 lower. And here's a 510. That's the low of this move here. And also those the bottom end of those Fibonacci's that I was talking about. So typically when you test a low, you get a reaction there. And so I think that's where the low is going to be. Again, it can spike through with volatility being so high. So we'll be looking for this bounce into Monday and Tuesday. And that's, I believe, today's Friday. So the 7th is Monday. We'll be looking for this bounce to resolve around this cluster here. All right, so we're looking for a low, a temporary low here, which is today and Monday. And then we're looking for a high. Oh, my arrow is way too long. Into this cluster, which is Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll look for, let me duplicate this, and we'll look for that new low to occur into our timing, which is where that purple line is. All right, then after that, we will probably see a pretty substantial rally, and then we'll put on our main retracements and such, and it should bring us back into probably those that area where we had our first bounce. So we'll probably, I probably drew that way too long. It could, but now we'll be looking into this zone here. All right, we'll probably look for, and I don't know if that will go into FOMC or not. I don't know where that timing's going to be yet, but we'll be looking to 560, 570 zone. Probably. That's just by visual. We'll put up our Fibonacci's when we get our low, or when we think we have our low. All right. That's what I got for you guys. We didn't do our, let me just zoom through these real quick here. Again, that's our trend line right down here. So we'll do the MACD. So you see how this just burned right through. So we thought we'd had our divergence there. Now what we're going to look for is a divergence here, and the 65. And I'm pretty sure we'll see some sort of positive divergence from this next move. Okay, we'll get a bounce, and then boom, a higher low. So just so we can hold ourselves accountable, I'm going to draw one. I'm going to leave one here. So we'll probably have our low in there. And I'll show you what that typically looks like. And again, right here, we'll probably form one there. And the slow stoke is already cycled lower. And so we'll probably see it cycle all the way up for this wave 4. And then a new cycle down for that wave 5, but we might have positive divergence there as well. All right, let's look at the DMARC. 7 count, so we could look for a 9 count before we get the reversal. It's closing the gap right now, so maybe we get the bounce off of this gap bottom. Awesome oscillator. And we made a new low here. So now we'll have to look for, again, I'll put one in place. But when we get that wave 5 coming in, we'll likely see a positive divergence just like this. And then we'll see our reversal happen. Okay, and hopefully that'll be right into the trend line. If we go directly to the trend line, what happens then, right? Then, you know, maybe this trend line will have to be adjusted. Maybe we'll have to do something. But I'm pretty sure we'll bounce off of here. It's not likely. Usually we gap over things so you can get through them faster. And then during trading hours, it's not typical that you close. We closed one gap already. In closing more than two here, and headed this one, just not a likely scenario. It could happen. Anything could happen in this market. But then we'd have our wave 3 down here. We get our bounce, and maybe we spike down to close that gap. But it still makes more sense for me to have it here with our extension already, our tool in with our target. And again, it spikes through. It's fine. It's a target zone, okay? And so we'll probably see a lift off from there. And we'll just adjust this a little bit so maybe it doesn't close the gap all the way. I'll have precise numbers for you next time. But it'll probably spike through this 382 and still close the gap. So anyway, just blabbering on here. And I think this looks really good. So let's roll with it. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for the likes and subscribes. And we'll talk to you in the Discord.